Hi, welcome to this episode of Author Eke. I'm Travis Davis, your host. Tell us your story. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Author Eke. And today we have an Air Force veteran. My hat's off, salute him, Anthony Markland. So I want to introduce him, and I'll let him introduce himself and tell about himself, where the Air Force background. Then we're going to get into his book, which is going to be pretty cool, and I can't wait. So, Mark, take it away from you, there, Airman.
Oh my God, I haven't been called airman forever.
Got to get back to your roots, my brother.
Oh my gosh. My rank was just a little bit higher when I got out, but wow.
Me too. Sometimes people call me private and I can't figure it out. So,
Oh man. But no, thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful to be here. And so let's see a little bit about myself. Obviously a veteran, father, husband. I am a first-time author, but I like to say a lifelong writer.
Oh, interesting. I'm going to dwell into that here in a little bit. But go ahead.
Okay. And so no, so what I mean by that is, been writing forever. It's just writing is obvious. It's honestly my therapy. It's what
Excellent.
gets me through everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really it.
Awesome. I tell people, I avoided writing like the plague. And if you ever got an email from me, you would understand that, because it's like, yes, no. I mean, my emails are like, better be short. And then when I get an email, if it's too long, I don't finish it. And then usually what I need to read is on the bottom. I mean, that's something I need to work on, evidently. So what's the name of your book? And I know you're not finished with it yet. So when do you think it's going to be done? And are you going to self-publish? Or are you trying to find a publisher? And maybe somebody on here could help you find the right avenue to go.
Yeah. So the name of my book is Mom Said Go Talk to Dad. And it's yes, see? Yeah. And that's why, I went with that. And it's basically it's a book of poetic life advice from a father's perspective.
Oh, nice.
So that's what the book is about. It's not done yet. It'll be out. I'm self-publishing, and I'll be self-publishing through the regular mediums, and it'll be out on September 1st. And I scheduled it that way because I figure it's like a book, if parents need advice, or if their kids are going through something, whether they have middle-aged kids, middle school kids, high school kids, or kids that are going off to college or moving out for the first time. It's one of those things, because once they leave or before school starts or when they leave, you have to have that conversation with dad if you have one in the house. So
yes, I remember my son went in the Army. I mean, because I've worked from home since before it was even chic, right? So, and he's always around. So I remember when the day he joined the Army, I was sitting in my office. I'm like, wow. I mean, I was like tore up, because I know what he's going through. I've been through basic training.
Yeah.
And so I understand what he was going through. So I like the premise about, go and talk to your father, because I think that's sometimes that's missing today, and especially in the last couple of years. It's, kids got to go back. They got to interpersonal skills and everything. So I think it's very important. Can you have a sample or something you can share?
I mean, yeah, I do have some stuff that I can share, but I want to get back to you. So you said, your emails, they were really short. So how was that conversation with your son? Because I know, those short emails is like teenage speak. Yes, no. Like when you ask them questions, I'm okay. Yes, I'm good. How was that conversation?
I basically, my advice was to don't volunteer, look him in the eyes, say yes, drill sergeant, no, drill sergeant, and don't be the last one in formation, and don't be the last one on a run. and do your push-ups and just try to help your fellow soldier. Because
Yeah.
you, as well as I have relationships that I've kept from the military for,
Mm.
oh, shoot, 30, 40 years. And I
Those
still
are the
have those
best ones.
relationships. Yeah. And to be honest with you, so when I came up with the premise for the book, I reached out to a buddy of mine who I've known since he was a first lieutenant. He was a platoon leader of mine years
Mhm.
ago, but I've kept in contact. Really, this guy is fantastic. And I talked to him. He goes, Travis, he goes, that's a good premise. So I said, you know what, Scott, good to go. So I wrote it. So I think those relationships are big, and that has to foster, when you're young, and then you carry them through with your adult life. But I think that's the military relationships are pretty special.
Yeah. And they are special. That's a great word, because I think as you get older,
Mhm.
it's harder to make friends. You become more closed off and set in your ways, and then in the military, even if you try to keep that
Mhm.
mentality, you're kind of forced out of it.
Right.
And so
Right.
it's just great. And it kind of it opens your eyes, especially if you're sheltered, and
Yeah.
it makes you be able to accept people,
Right.
for how they are, and have, serious conversations.
Right. So your book, was it how long have you been haven't had the idea? How long have you been writing these uh poems, and do you use those with your kids and everything? How many kids do you have, by the way?
I have three kids. So
Okay.
my daughter, she just graduated high school, and she'll be going to UW, University of Washington.
All right.
And then I have a son who's a sophomore in high school, and then another son who's going to be in fifth grade. And so,
So
do I?
As Air Force speak, one taken off,
Yeah,
one's on the apex, and one's still in the bay ready to fire up and take off.
absolutely. We're getting them ready to fire up and take
Yeah.
off.
Awesome.
'Cause like you said, the pandemic was a little different, so they're kind of muted a little bit. So
Right.
kind of getting back up to speed. But it's it's great. Three great kids. Nothing like the trouble. You know, we got into when we were younger. So that's
Oh my
that's a good
goodness.
thing.
That'd be another podcast that would not,
Absolutely.
I'd have to make that private, just talk to myself. Uh,
Yeah, that's what I do.
so
And so
do they like to write? What do they think of your writing a book and everything? I mean, it's just pretty. A lot of people say I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book, and they don't. Then do you say I'm going to write a book, and people say you're not going to write a book? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's just a lot of like. Then you do it, they go, "Wow, you really did that."
yeah, and that's an ongoing thing, because, like I said, I'm a lifelong writer. So everybody who knows me, who I've ever talked to, like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
writing this, I'm writing that. I've written
yeah.
screenplays, and
Oh
so they're just
wow,
like,
good for
yeah,
you.
yeah, 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 yeah. Nothing's published yet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay. And so now this one is coming out, and like you said, they're like, oh wow, you actually did it. But back to what you were asking about the kids, do they listen? Do I tell them my advice, and do they listen
Mhm.
to it? You know, kids, sure, I definitely tell them my advice. It's not in poetic form. I don't want to be, walking around the house, just
Well, they freak out. Oh, Dad had a
Shakespeare
stroke.
it all day,
Dad
like,
had a stroke.
like, what's wrong with you, man? So, but yeah, definitely give them advice. I mean, um, it's important,
Mhm.
and sometimes you're like, okay, Dad, yeah, 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 those kind of things. But I'm like, well, you don't have to listen to me, but you'll understand. And they do. And then what the greatest reward is, every so often, on my birthdays or Father's Day,
Right.
I'll get cards, and they'll write and say, thank you for all the great advice and stuff like that. And then you see it sinking in sometimes. So I
Well,
mean, yeah.
well, you may be their catalyst for them to wanting to get into writing, and I
Mm.
think a lot of times for me, uh, it just came out of the blue. I mean, it was like getting hit with a hammer. Oh, I'm gonna write a book. Really? Okay. People that know me are like, you have how many beers, right? Um,
Yeah,
so
I listened to the podcast. You said you wrote it in what, 6 weeks? I was like,
6 weeks.
that is, I don't know if maybe I've written something in 6 weeks and then I just set it down. So I didn't,
Uh,
what they call closing the loop, or
yeah,
closing the gap. I didn't close the
yeah.
gap in those 6 weeks, man.
It's
That's
83,000
amazing.
words. 83,000 words. So I started in the first week of March, and I was talking to a publisher on the 21st of April.
Hmm.
So, but I mean, it just came to me. The second one I'm writing, it, it comes in spurts. So it's probably gonna because I'm trying to, you got one, you're trying to get that out, right? You're trying to market that, and being
Yeah.
nobody knows you, all right, and you're trying to
Mhm.
get, so you got to build up a little bit of credibility, I guess. But to me, I think the funnest part is just seeing it go from typing away
Mhm.
to printing it. Oh my goodness, right? That's a lot. And then getting
Yeah.
it printed in a book or an audio or ebook. There's a whole business behind that, and I didn't realize
Yeah.
it's like logistics of it, right? The
Yeah.
whole thing. People don't understand. People go to the grocery store right now and they pick up eggs. They don't think about, well, there's a chicken.
Yep.
Chicken had to
Yep.
be fed, right? It'd be fed every day. You had to get
Absolutely.
the egg, put it in the truck, take it somewhere, have to keep it. I mean, this whole process, so people don't understand. But a book, they just pick it up. Oh, it's a book. There is a tremendous amount of effort and work done behind the scenes.
Yeah. It really, really is. And it's like, you hit a bunch of walls, when
Hmm.
you're writing, and then after you finish, and it's another wall.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Like,
like
and this
Tetris.
one is just bigger and deeper,
Yeah.
wider, longer. Like, what the hell is going on right now? So
But
I
you
definitely
haven't,
understand that.
you have not. I look at this, to me, there's obstacles and there are objections, right?
Mm,
An
yeah.
objection is somebody saying, well, you can't do this. To me, that's an
Hmm.
objection. So I can, whatever. An obstacle is something that I can either go around, remove, or bypass totally, right? So I have to
Yeah.
look at that. So the obstacles are thrown at me. I go, okay, how do I remove this obstacle? And the
Yeah.
Army is normally with C4. So, so, so
Uh,
so what I try to do is I'll move around and I say, okay, you know what? I'm going to get back to that.
yeah.
It's still an obstacle. It may be one later on, but I'm gonna get back to it. So that's how I kind of look at things. And it's like I like to walk, right? And
Hmm.
I walk, I fix myself a point and walk to that point and
Yeah.
walk to the other point. And by the time I get done, I've done 4.5, 5 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you think about stuff and everything. But so what do you like to do in your spare time?
Spare time, you know, whatever I feel like, really. I mean, that's
Nice.
but I listen to a lot of music,
Hmm.
try to read. I'm not one of those authors that reads constantly all day.
Oh my goodness,
I
yeah.
take breaks. I have to, get away from it, and you asked me, what's my writing style? It's kind of,
Mhm.
I've read all these books that, give you pointers. Are you supposed to write this, set a routine, do this, blah, 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 blah. And I've tried them all, but what works for me is I just write sporadically, just
Yeah,
throughout the day, because everything, like when you're on your walks, whatever I see, whatever I'm
right.
listening to, I absorb it, and then I can,
Yep.
get inspiration from everything. So, but outside of that, let's see, music, movies, playing with the kids. My son's in soccer, and just trying to make sure everybody's all right, man. And that takes up
That's all you can
the
do.
majority of my time.
Probably work overtime. So what'd you do in the Air Force? I'm interested. What'd you do?
I was security forces. I was a cop in the Air Force.
Oh, sweet. Very
Hmm.
nice. Were you at McCord?
No, let's see. I was at Lakenheath in
Okay.
England.
Okay.
And I got deployed a few times. I was in, during 9/11, and then
Right.
after I left England, I went to Idaho,
Oh my goodness.
and
Beautiful but cold.
Yeah. First, it is really beautiful. It was crazy though because I'd never seen a blue football field, and Boise State's football
Oh,
field is
that's right.
blue,
That's right.
so it's wild to see.
Hard to see, hard to look at. I have to be
Yeah,
honest with you.
and
I'm
you
like,
would actually see birds dive bombing onto the field because thought it was the sky.
like,
So
I bought another TV because I thought my color went out on my TV.
it makes sense. It really messes up your eyes.
It does. It's crazy,
And
crazy.
so another deployment from there, and then it was time to get out. So I did 6 years,
Uh,
but with the kids, being born and missing, so much of my daughter's, you know, early stages,
yeah.
it's like it's time to get out.
Well, you serve the country well, and
Yeah,
myself as a veteran, and all the other veterans, everybody that's not a veteran, we want to thank you because there's a price to pay.
right.
You know?
And thank you as well.
Oh, I had a good time. That's what I tell everybody.
Yeah, yeah. It was
Uh,
very interesting.
and
That's what
I
I
didn't
tell
meet too many
everybody.
MPs either. I didn't meet too many MPs, which was nice. On the
Yeah,
professional.
yeah. That's good.
So
Means you
you
were
have
doing
like
something
a
right.
yeah, fast. So
Yeah.
are you looking at writing another one? Is there something else in your head that
Oh,
you're thinking about?
absolutely, man. So let's see. I have a children's book that's
Hmm.
written already. I need to find an illustrator for that.
Hmm.
Um, and that's called My Wild Crazy Haired Brother's First Alarm Clock, because my
So can I put a
son,
shout out? Any illustrators listening to this, check out
yeah,
Anthony.
absolutely. Um, and so that's one. But you know, my writing it spans different genres. So I have another one that is just
Mhm.
about done called Anxiety Society. I have a book about you know
Holy smokes.
wild relationships. Yeah, so like I said, I'm a lifelong writer, and it
Yeah.
was the issue that I had because I guess this is the downfall of not having a specific routine,
Hmm.
and just writing sporadically and all throughout the
Yeah.
day, is that I'm constantly writing something, putting it down, and starting something else.
Hmm.
So at any given moment, I could be writing, four different books.
I think that's
So
called ADHD.
you're probably right.
I'm the
I
same
stay away
way.
from therapists because I didn't want them to tell me that.
I don't. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. So I'm a lot like you. I like to write in the morning. Like I'll sit outside. Texas, it's hot. It's just outside in the morning before it gets like
Yeah.
really hot. And like to write. I may not be writing all the time, but I'm thinking of the book and what to put in the book all the time.
Mm.
Like
Do you
I'll
carry? Do you take notes on your phone, or do you have a notebook in your pocket, or how do you do that?
right up here. That's it.
Yeah,
Which there's not a lot of storage capacity. Something has
I
to
have
go
to get
out.
it out.
And that something has to go out. Like, oh, where do I live?
Yeah.
But no, I don't. What I'll do is in the book that I'm writing now, I will like think something and I'll put it somewhere in there,
Mm.
like to do or actions, and I mind map a book out.
Okay.
And that helps me, like you say, close the loop, right?
Hmm.
If I say I'm gonna do this, I have to make sure and that I do that. Um, so that kind of helps me. But I couldn't. I mean, sitting at a desk like 8 hours writing. I mean, I would go like berserk.
Yeah.
Again, I worked from my home since 1999, and for me to
Yeah.
go into office would be like, give him something.
Quieting them down.
Yeah,
Like that baby over there. Give them those
got any
toys.
Benadryl or something? Give him a comic book or
Yeah.
something to. But again, and I never like you like to. So did you write like in high school or while you were in the military, or was it maybe a little later on? You
I
said I like to write.
No, it was all my life, and I remember specifically what did it for me. Well, you know, one when I'm a kid and I'm seeing all these movies, I'm like, oh, okay, I want to
Yeah.
write
Oh
movies,
yeah. Oh
right?
yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that was the first thing. But then I won a writing contest. I want to say for the Reading Rainbow when that was out
Oh
way back in
wow.
the day.
LeVar Burton, right?
Yeah,
Oh my
LeVar
goodness.
Burton.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Awesome.
and then I was supposed to go somewhere, but I never got to go. But I remember, having the tickets and I swear I'm not making this up because I remember that specifically. But yeah, that's what really did it for me was just,
Yeah.
that.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, I again, well, I didn't like school. I mean,
Yeah, that's what got me through it. Like I said, writing was always been my therapy. So I didn't
yeah.
like school that much. And it was just, writing. And then, with, um, you know, my father not being around all the
Hmm.
time,
Hmm.
you know, that did it. And I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why my book is titled Mom Said Go Talk to Dad, because it was
Ah.
just, you know how important it is to be a
Oh yeah.
father. So
Oh yeah. Definitely. So, do you have a little excerpt or something you want to read us? I mean,
I
I'm
I
interested,
do.
man. I'm ready.
Let's see. It's just let's see. All right. Okay. So your true love should be yourself first and achieving your best life second, because all decisions and actions are for better or worse. Reputation cannot be divorced, so build it, protect it, respect it. Never neglect or refuse to correct it. Reputation lives beyond the grave. It will either help or ruin your family's name. So
Awesome. That's
that's just how
awesome.
I said it. Yeah,
You're right. Reputation is right.
yeah.
That's a cornerstone. Whether because you build upon that, and
Mhm.
my son was like, "Oh, I want to do this and this." I said, Tyler, I said, everybody has a hobby, right? You should have a hobby, but
Mhm.
don't let the hobby become your job until you can pay for it with by that hobby,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And and I have two daughters, two 7 grandkids. So hey, that's one reason why I walk, because if I need to take them out, I'm gonna take them out.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
awesome. They're awesome though.
That's
Uh,
busy. That's
yeah,
busy work. My
oh,
goodness.
I know. I had my 22-year-old grandson here this weekend for his birthday. He flew down from
Nice.
Arkansas, so that was nice. He's a good kid.
What'd
Um,
y'all do?
well, they like to go bowling because they like to beat me,
Okay.
but that doesn't happen every time.
Good, good.
So the thing is, if I win, he has to carry my bowling ball, and I take pictures and send it to his mom. And
Uh,
she got a picture this weekend.
Wall of
So
shame.
yeah, but and so I'm thinking about writing a book. It's called Son, Father, Grandfather, and it's through
Mm,
about 2 years of my life that were just, if I didn't have my wife and my family, have been terrible. A lot
mhm.
going on. So to me, I think that therapy that I try to work through. Um, but it came out good. Everything was worked. It came out perfect. So just get have faith. It
Yeah,
just takes time. But
yep.
so I'm really interested in that. So what's the name of the book again? And where can everybody get it and take it and just read it and enjoy it? And maybe you find a little nugget of something you want to do in your own life.
Yeah. So the name of the book is Mom Said Go Talk to Dad.
Okay.
It's available for pre-order right now on my website, www.grizzlygentleman.com.
Okay.
And then it'll be available, worldwide on, all the major outlets on
Okay.
September 1st.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Grizzly Gentleman, everybody.
Yes.
But then you can get it on Amazon or some other places also. So please uh, check out Anthony's book. I'm going to have to get it. And then I think I'm going to give it to my daughters and one to my son. So when he ever gets married,
And I'm gonna so it has some good information because, like I said, I have a daughter, and so, going through those, uncomfortable talks, because one part of the book is, you may not really like everything that I'm saying to you, but I need to make sure that you understand these things, so you're not seduced by someone else who's going to tell you, all the goods to get,
Yes.
your goods.
Yes.
I say it a little more eloquently in the book, but that's, part of some of the book right there because
Tough love.
Yeah, you know how it is.
Well, Anthony, it's been a pleasure, meeting you and talking to you and learning about your book and basically just shooting the crap with you. To be honest with you.
This is a really cool thing you got going on, man.
Oh, thank you very much. I just want to be able to, I found it so fascinating that everybody has a story.
Yeah.
And I think people want to hear other people's story because I think it could be the momentum that they need to write their own. Whether they ever publish it or whether they ever do anything with it, it allows them to sit and say, okay, let me just write some things down or draw a picture, whatever. And so if we can bring a little bit of something to somebody's life that's, not chaotic and happy and gets thoughts and brings back some great memories, but then helps you heal, then fantastic. So I personally want to thank you. I hope you the most success in your book, and I'm ready for the other one because I'm gonna have you back on when you're done with the other one.
Right on.
And folks, you can. What about LinkedIn? Can people reach out LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, I'm on there as Anthony Markland.
Okay.
You can find me on LinkedIn. It's Anthony Markland. On Facebook as Anthony Markland as well.
Okay. So I am Travis Davis on Facebook, I think. LinkedIn, you can reach me on LinkedIn and my website, randomthoughts.llc. And then our podcast is Author Eke. And this is Author's Corner. And again, I want to thank you for being on and spending some time with us. And I'm so excited about your book. And I hope you all the best.
Thank you so much. And same to you, man. And then I'm going to reach back out to you one of these days to have you on my podcast as well.
Awesome. I'll have to brush up.
You have a good one, man. Enjoy that nice weather.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.
Thank you for listening to Author Eke. There'll be another episode next week. Please stop by and start your own story. We can't wait to hear it.